And then this brings me to our illustrious and fantastic panel for the day that have already joined me on stage. So again, Dr. Luis Noguerol from the U.S. Department of Commerce, NOAA, Information Systems Security, ISO. Thank you so much, Doctor. Laurie Iacono, Director, Threat Intelligence from At Bay Security. Tiffany McLee from Ally Financial, Senior Director, Privacy Compliance. Christopher Treib, Vice President of Information Technology, Chair, Campus Emergency Response Team at Geneva College. And of course, last but certainly not least, if you'd like to take the stage, our moderator for today's panel, returning for I think the third year in a row to moderate our panel from the city of Philadelphia. I know you claim Pittsburgh as your own, as well. Grandma's here, right? Yeah. But Jessica from the city of Philadelphia, the Deputy Chief Information Security Officer and HIPAA Security Officer. Thank you, my friend. So continental today. I'm going to hand it over now to Jessica. I think you've heard enough of me today. So I'm going to hand it over to Jessica and our amazing panel once again as this final session of ours, Securing the Future, CISO Insights and Industry Leaders discussing current cyber threats and strategic defense practices. Round of applause.
All right, we made it through today almost. Come on, give it up for yourself. Okay, thank you guys for being here. Who wants to hear a boring panel? Nobody. Good, because we threw everything out the window. Hello. This is my third year, and I'm really excited to be here. Pittsburgh, beautiful city, even though you're probably like, why is she here? She's from Philadelphia. Go Birds. Usually, okay, well, you guys respond back. Okay, we'll try later. I ain't say Phillies now, I didn't come here to dig on your sports team. I know Pittsburgh's serious too. Aaron Rodgers is doing that already. So we do have an awesome panel of guests here. I am in public service, and so is Dr. Luis. We have FinTech. We have cyber liability insurance. How many of you guys love cyber liability insurance? All right. And we have higher education. So we're going to talk about all the things today. But first, you know what? Let's get started with just a little intro of our panel. I know you heard Dr. Luis already. So instead of telling us a little bit about yourself, why don't you tell us something you don't tell anybody? Think fast.
This is a fascinating question.
Fascinating question.
I am a little open, so I don't really know what to say that you cannot find about me online. I'm going to tell you something. When you have free time from cyber, do judo. This is the only thing I can say. Judo. Don't do karate or wrestling. Judo.
Judo.
Of course. No, I don't want to miss the opportunity to thank you to each of you. I have been talking with a few of you in the hallway. Have been learning a lot from you guys. It's a unique opportunity also from the vendors. I'm not familiar with all the vendors. So we are being out of work for 8 hours, as you are doing. We are all in the similar field, IT, cyber, etc. It's a humongous effort, okay? So I appreciate your time, the opportunity to exchange some ideas with you guys. And just walk out more concerned than when you walk in, because things are happening today. And we are the person in charge. We are the persons with the unique opportunity to protect other people and organizations. It's a big responsibility, okay? So take care. It's a huge opportunity. Thanks.
Judo. Tiff, what's up?
Hi, Tiffany McLee. I am the Senior Director of Privacy Compliance at Ally Financial. So specifically, I lead our privacy event management team. Background, over 16 years of experience in the threat intelligence, cyber threat intelligence, and financial services space. I will say one thing that most people know about me, and I'm going to just tell this room because I'm in Pittsburgh, and I am from the area, but I am a Baltimore Ravens fan. I am not
Woo!
a Steelers
Oh, linchpin.
So you can imagine all my family, Steeler fans, friends. I am a diehard Baltimore Ravens fans. Yes, you should. Yeah, I get a lot of slack, but I go to the Steeler games with my Ravens gear and
That's what I'm
walk the
talking
city with my
about.
Ravens gear and all.
She's
Go
a brave
Ravens.
woman. I used to work with Tiffany, so I can attest to that she was a Ravens fan. So my name is Laurie Iacono, and before everyone throws tomatoes at me, I want to clarify that I don't actually work for a cyber insurance company. I work at CyberSecurity, and we are a spinoff of a cyber insurance company. And what we do is we are the preferred IR vendor for Bay Insurance. But I'm not the person on the business side that's approving the claims. I'm the person on the incident response and security side.
Big
so
differentiator,
I
yes.
do want to clarify that. So essentially, if insured at Bay Insurance has some kind of an incident like ransomware, they come to us from that, but officially not employed by a cyber insurance company.
That sounded better, though. I don't know. More exciting.
Hi, I'm Chris Treib. I'm from Geneva College. Geneva is a small Christian liberal arts school that offers engineering, business, and cybersecurity majors. We're about 40 minutes north of here. And I started this career 5 years ago, getting into higher ed. Before that, I was in the Coast Guard, did 25 years in the Coast Guard. Got to work with NOAA a little bit in GPS work, detecting anomalies in the atmosphere and the delays that causes. Fun stuff. If you want to nerd out about radio navigation with me, be great. What do I tell? I never tell anyone that I was a Colorado Rockies fan, and when I was at grad school at University of Colorado, next to one of NOAA's headquarters, I got to go to World Series game for Colorado when they got beat by the Yankees.
Fun. So you can come over to Philly. We're having the All-Star game. I don't know what's going on here in Pittsburgh. So I just want to let you know, too, these are prescription glasses. I'm not an asshole. All right. Now that I got your attention, what do you guys want to talk about? Yell it out. Come on. What do you want to talk about? Really? You want to go home? You want to go? Well, too bad. You got us for like 40 more minutes. Smile for the camera. What do you guys? Somebody yell something out. Jeez.
Budget trends for information security.
No.
What did he say?
Budget trends for information security. We can talk that after drink. One more. Come on. What do y'all want to talk about? How to manage talent, maybe. No, gosh, you must be security people.
Like that.
Bingo. I'll buy you a drink after this. We're going to talk about AI and quantum computing. Maybe we'll sprinkle in some cyber workforce development. Yes, sir.
In regard to quantum and all of our data becoming how are we going to begin to shift our protection mechanism from a SOC perspective? That's really where the power is going to be.
Y'all just going in hard, right? I get you. All right, well, let's go. Let's talk about quantum computing. Harvest now, decrypt later. You guys know about that, right? We should be very, very scared. Between that and AI, what did we say earlier?
We're cooked.
We're cooked. That's our motto. That's
our
we're
official
cooked.
message of FutureCon.
Hashtag, we all cooked.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yes.
Well, you heard it here, first time, Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
What'd you say? Yes, ma'am. What's up?
Check. Hold on. Can I just? I have a microphone.
Sorry, there's people
For the-
online,
for the
and then
people
we
at
go
home.
we gonna get busy. All right.
So how do we get the people who work in our organizations to apply their training, their security training and their security knowledge to their everyday work life?
Oh, okay, so we talk about a little cyber training. All right, that's great. That's what I'm talking about. Well, let's start with the hard one, and then we're gonna work our way down to easy and with we still cooked. Quantum computing. How many of y'all ready for that? Liars. Dr. Lewis, what you think about quantum computing?
As we know already, and I like the fact that you actually just mentioned again, harvest now and decrypt later. This is here to stay. Quantum is relevant. I'm going to tell you the estimation of the US government from the government standpoint, and yes, I am qualified to talk about on behalf of the government for quantum. We are expecting that quantum will be accessible to the public in the next 3 to 5 years. So there is a lot of things happening from the practical standpoint. I was in Taiwan in January this year. The technology is already released. They are building up the technology not for US but for the world. So expect a jump in the next 3 to 5 years. It will be very popular. The reason why we have the perception from the government standpoint that this is a topic that have to be start disseminating at this particular point is a concerning topic because we are not alone. Other countries are trying to move faster than US. I don't want to talk about competition because this is a technical race, okay? All other topics are not really interesting to me. I am not into the other part, the political part. I'm not into that in any possible ways. And we don't want to be beat, because if we are beat from the technical standpoint, we will be relegated. So we need to be aware of what is happening, and is happening. This is not, quantum is not in the movies anymore, it's happening. We are dedicating a lot of efforts. My major concern, personally speaking, is the education part. Because when we talk about quantum, people associate quantum with cryptography, which is a very old topic. We have cryptography since Julius Caesar. I don't know how many thousand years ago or 100 years ago. Okay? And we're still using Julius Caesar. Everybody knows that. So cryptography is not a new topic. Quantum, by definition, is not a new topic because the principles we use in quantum computing and security are the same principles of the physical classic quantum. But we are assisting or trying to incorporate that to information technology. This is a different conversation. Technology is moving so fast, according to the Ponemon Institute. The science that have been moving faster in history in the last 23 years is technology. Again, it's not me, it's the Ponemon Institute statement. And I concur. I never see an explosion of any other specialty as IT in the last 20, 30 years. Without talking about AI as part of the conversation, I am very concerned about the use of AI. But this is me. I understand simultaneously that we cannot stop the use of AI. In the contrary, this is the moment to potentiate AI. Now we have to do that with responsibility. But I'm going to close recap my response with this comment. According to the Mayo Clinic, the possibility to detect, proactively speaking, the cancer, multiple cancers, but especially for women, is 99.3. Again, it's public record. Everything I say you can Google. It's 99.3 possibilities of early prevention of cancer, especially for women, due to the use of artificial intelligence exclusively. Okay, so artificial intelligence is awesome. When you can predict somebody's possibility to get trapped into the cancer with 99.3 means that we are on it, okay? This is what technology means. This is the value of artificial intelligence. The other % of the bad people, we are here to deal with those people. So I never finished the idea, I'm sorry. My major concern about quantum is the academia part. The academia part needs to be part of this, needs to be involved. People need to start learning about this because we are estimating that between 3 and 5 years, as I mentioned before, we will be having, when I say we, I'm talking about the general population, will be having access to quantum computing devices. So the question becomes, how are we going to be prepared or ready for this moment if we don't understand the situation now? If you are waiting for the computer to be sold in Best Buy, just to say something, Craig or what, any other store, to start dealing with quantum problems, this is so late, it's pretty late. So we have to start now. We are in a privileged position. Everybody in this room is IT or cyber related. Everybody in this room. Okay? We have to be attentive, work with a better designs, architect the solution with something different on mind, because again, everything leaves digital traces, and it's not exceptions.
So Tiffany, thank you, Dr. Luis. Tiffany, you're coming in from a cyber intel perspective and also from FinTech, cybersecurity, GRC now. You expressed concern internally with the way quantum is attacking us very quickly.
Very quickly. So yeah, it's I always think of it like two sides. So you have within your own organization, making sure that you're being, your organization is quantum ready. But the risk also lies within our third-party vendors. So as a privacy and compliance professional, that's like my main concern. That's my team's main concern is how are these third parties getting quantum ready? Because they have so much access to our data. How are they protecting it? What are they doing on that end? And when we talk about, like Dr. Lee said, about the harvest now, decrypt later, from a privacy perspective, that becomes a big deal. Because right now, if one of our third-party vendors get hit and maybe they have some data, one of our organization's data in there, if it's encrypted, your regulatory obligations kind of, are low, because if it's encrypted, okay, they can't get access to it. We're pretty good. But you think about 5-10 years down the road, that same data that those bad guys have, now they decrypt it. What does that look like from a privacy perspective? There's a lot of federal and state regulatory requirements that we as financial institutions have to adhere to. So when our data is out there, customer data is out there, and now it's being decrypted, say 5-10 years later, and we have to notify customers of that, what does that look like from our organization's perspective? Because at the end of the day, a customer doesn't care. That doesn't care that quantum's now, and now they decrypted it. There's regulatory risk, but there's also reputational risk as well. So from when we think about the quantum risk that Dr. Luis outlined, look at it from not just within your organization, but also look at it from the third-party risk aspect, because that's a big component of protecting data, protecting your organization as well.
So I'm not even going to try to talk about quantum computing because I don't understand
Because
it.
we're cooked.
But I am going to try to talk about something else, and I swear it's all going to come back to cyber. But how many of you in the room know about something called brain rot?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so we got some people in the room that know about brain rot. Some people are kind of excited when I said that, in fact.
I saw that too.
So brain rot was something that was kind of new to me a couple years ago. I had never heard of this, but I have a 16-year-old and a 21-year-old, and they're chronically online, I guess is the word we would use, right? So I started noticing that when they were talking to me or even to each other, sometimes they were using words that I either didn't understand how they were using the word, or they were using words that I'd never heard before in my life. I'm like, what is this strange language? And then even between the two of them, they're about 4.5 years apart, they sometimes didn't understand each other's references because of where they were online, I guess. So I did some research, and I asked I think she was 13 at the time, and I asked her to give me all the brain rot terms that she had. And she gave me about 20 different terms, and at that time it was things like Giga Chad, looks maxing, cooked, all these different things. And I went to work the next day. I worked, this was at my last job, but I managed a cyber threat intel team, and we do a lot of dark web research and threat actor research. And I took those 25 words and I said, hey guys, we're doing a pop quiz today. I want to know how many of you have heard of all these terms, because my understanding is that this is what the kids are saying. And my analysts are like in their young 20s, so like they're all like, oh yeah, like we're totally gonna know this. We're so cool. They failed. They've failed. So they only knew maybe like a couple of the words. So then I said, now I want you to go into our tools where we search the dark web, and we're looking for hackers. And we're looking in Telegram channels where hackers are, bragging about taking down some of the biggest companies of our day. And I said, I want you to look up those words. And it was almost within like 10 minutes, our team instant message chat started blowing up. And they were finding examples all over the places of kids in these hacker channels that were using these words. So it was really, really kind of hit home for us about these, all these individuals that we're tracking, and all of us in the room are kind of fighting against trying to keep out of our network. These are young kids, and they're coming up, they're digital natives. They think completely different from us. And in addition to, not to scare everyone, but in addition to AI and quantum and all these other things that we're thinking about, there is a tsunami coming of youth culture that I think is going to totally change the landscape, right? It's going to change the landscape from the threat actor front, but hopefully, if we harness it correctly, maybe it can change the landscape from the defender front as well. But, talking about cyber workforce development, which some people ask about, I really think we're gonna need to change the way that we do some things, right? Because right now an entry-level job, I teach at the college level, and these kids come out, they've got great skills, they go to apply for an entry-level job, and an entry-level job needs 5 to 7 years of experience and like 27 certs, which they didn't get when they were in college. So we need to think of different ways to get them into the workforce. I was at a conference earlier this week, and there was a company there, and they were talking about, leveraging basically children's profiles in gaming apps as a way to assess their aptitude for different jobs in cyber. And they were saying that it used to be the average age for intervention that the government agencies will look at to try to, the fork in the road, so to speak, for turning someone into like an ethical hacker or hacker for good. The average age was about 16 to 17. Now the average age that they're looking for is 8 to 11. So it's happening that early, that they need to get in front of these kids before that happens. So that's my pedestal for a day. And if you don't know about brain rot, go look it up when you go home.
Before we get to Chris, because that's a great segue, because Chris is in academia at Geneva. You said you have a cybersecurity major, but we need some participation. Make sure y'all are still awake. So when I say we are, y'all say cooked. We are
Cooked.
We are
Cooked.
We are
Cooked.
Y'all, that's terrible. You better do better next time. Let's talk about what you're seeing at the college level. I think all of us up here teach at a collegiate level, and I am so scared. But yeah, what's going on over there, Chris?
Geneva College. So this is I've had 5 years into higher ed, going from government employees, where typically later in your career, had a hard time recruiting employees, and that's part of why I wanted to get into higher ed. I wanted to get upstream of the hiring process, and I was like, let's touch the future. Let me touch college and get into that program, that environment, and then whoa, I got an eyeful. Because running the network and having Gen Z on there and having people running Bitcoin mining operations and attacking your servers and having a cyber lab with all sorts of viruses in this locker that we hope are protected, but it keeps us busy and keeps us thinking about what if and our contingency plans for things like that. But yes, I will say that working with Gen Z has been rejuvenating for me. They think a lot different from us. It's a realization that I'm not 20 years old anymore, and they have a lot of creativity and ambition too. So one of the things that I did at Geneva College is I replaced our network, and we saved a lot of money by having internships for our computer science majors. So we had interviews, they had to go through the interviewing process, develop, they had to write a resume. It was a great professional development point for them. We worked with our counseling and calling and career office to help them understand, okay, you're part of an internship, you're going to be exposed to the networking vendors, you're going to be exposed to managed services vendors, and they had an opportunity to get certifications. But I love the idea of internships, and college students will work for pizza, the very cheap labor rate. They're highly ambitious. They're fantastic for testing. If you give them a challenge, say, hey, you can't do something, they'll find a way. So that's my plug for college students. Do the internship thing. Listen to them. They do have the mindset of the future. Gen Z does have a lot to offer. And it's fantastic working with them. They never cease to amaze how creative they are and how ambitious they can be. And I think it's part of that mentoring process and developing that relationship, developing those connections with the future is super important for us as a society.
Yeah, thank you. That's such a valid point. Like, these kids work for pizza. So, apparently, you show up for pizza and CPEs. All right, you have like a gazillion years of experience up here. Not me, I'm super green. But let's talk about I hate this saying, but what keeps you up at night? But seriously, like as a cybersecurity professionals, there's one thing I bet every single one of you are like, oh, I hate this so much. Why can't we do something about this? Why hasn't there been a tool that's been developed and they're not in the other room? So Dr. Luis, he's a little modest, I don't know. Well, he works for the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, and they handle weather, oceans, climate, satellites, and environmental protection. The gentleman runs the largest satellite network, he does all the things. So, which is operational technology, right? So tell us, Dr. Luis, from in your position as a director of security there, what is it that, what are one of the two things that really are concerning for you, especially right now in this age where we are seeing such a transformational age in information technology?
This is a great question. The reason why is because the thing I manage is not friendly with numbers. And I have the perception, and this is my major fear, that we have to prioritize and put numbers or use numbers in terms of bullets. Bullets from the symbological part doesn't give any priority to anything. They are just that, bullets. So we are in the position that we have to say, or I ask my direct reporters, I have almost 700 people under my supervision, and 101 that report straight to me, manager at different levels, etc. So my major fear is our distance from math. And what I mean is that if I ask you, give me the two priorities, the two major problems you have to solve, then this is when the word BAT, B-U-T, becomes popular. This is a list of priorities. I ask you for two. So I have the perception that we still thinking in a global manner. We have to focus, centralize our efforts and budget in what is more important at a particular moment. My other concerns is how quickly we get behind. Because the reality is, guys, everybody here is in the same office, IT or cyber, right? So we know that we get involved in multiple things that are irrelevant. 1, 2, we pay for tools that we merely use more than 60%. When you come back to your office, if you never did it, most likely you did. But when you come back to your office, just walk into your department and talk to anybody, not to the supervisors. We are in a different position. We spend time on meetings, etc. Engineers usually are not part of that meeting. And just ask a simple question. We have Tenable, Security Center as an example. Okay, I'm just using that as an example. How much in terms of percentage are we using the application? This is a common problem. Then you have an engineering team that sit together every single day, recognize the problem, they express what the major concerns are, and we ended by firing those people because they don't belong to the team, you are creating a problem on me, and this type of mediocrity that we don't need. This is another concern. I let my people talk. I am probably a different person. I don't like formal meetings. I don't use tie. Even in my diplomatic assignments, I don't like ties. When I go to TV, sometimes I use the tie, other times I try not to use it. I don't have any problem with tie with anybody. It's just my tie. I don't like it. I don't like formal things. Okay, so talk to your people. Let your people, the real guys, the one that do the job every single day, the one that we tend to ignore because you are just an engineer on my team, but you are the one putting the finger on the keyboard. This is another concern, the lack of communication in real problems. Be open, listen to your people. Probably I am not good in the technical part after 42 years, and this is in my DNA, etc., but I'm very good at something, very good. I talk to everybody, my team, in a very open manner. I sit with my people. I'm going to tell you something. This is a secret. I was asking this question in TV. How the crap you have 107 certifications? I'm going to tell you something. What solution you have in your company? I'm not asking you. I'm going to say Cisco. If you think that you are going to justify a chain, you create a new rule, right? If you think that you are going to justify that from the technical standpoint, you need to more Cisco than me. So I don't know Cisco, but I try to be in top. We cannot sit, guys. We are in a very demanding job. So when I think about myself having 107 certifications, you know how I feel? Like a mouse. Because there are million things that I don't know. And I know that it's happening, but I'm not familiar with those type of issues. So we have to be in top. It's our responsibility. I'm pretty scared with that. My team sometimes gets saturated. They say, I'm always pushing. I always have a decent portion of money dedicated to the training part. We handle the biggest civilian satellite operation in the government. I say civilian, is my operation, the one I manage. So my people need to be in top. I'm accustomed to send people for training. Organizations doesn't do that. If you tell your CEO that you are going to send 2 people from the IT department to the A+ certification training together, in the next 2 weeks you will be at the unemployment office. Because the CEO doesn't want this type of things. Companies are not into this type of things. I'm pretty scared about the training part. It's another super concerning topic to me. Not exactly my operation, but it happens in IT. So, to recap, there are a million things that keep me away from the problems, and that create some types of pressure, because I tend to believe that we always have problems. I try to be attentive to that. It's not going to happen. I have been extremely lucky, super lucky. In the last 42 years, I have been in the leading management position for the last 29, and I have never been in the breaking news. For that, for the cybersecurity issue, however, I can be at any time. And this is something that I don't want to. So things are happening. I'm pretty concerned about what is happening in the space. Here, everybody connect to the Wi-Fi. Other people connect to the QR code or open the QR code to connect. And we do that because we are all good, serious, honest people. Who the crap told you that, man? No, seriously, no. The problem is that we instill this mentality in our people. Okay, we have a guest network. It's 100% separated from the company or organization network. Do whatever you want in the guest network, really? Hey, this is a bad question to me. I'm pretty concerned about everything.
Okay, one more time. We are all, come on. We are all right. Tiff, what you got, girl?
You are very enthusiastic.
I think, just in general, all the different presentations touched on everything that we should be worried about, pretty much. But I think AI, of course, I have a fraud and a money laundering background. So prior to coming over to the privacy compliance space, I used to lead our cyber fraud fusion center. So we're always thinking about how AI is scaling the fraud attacks and targeting, us as consumers and customers of financial institutions and what that looks like. But I think I would probably say like the agentic AI is one of my main concerns too right now, and it's just because of we see so many organizations, launching agentic AI and launching agents within organizations. So, while it's good for helping, from an operational standpoint, from a compliance standpoint, all I see is another insider threat, because it's just like a human. So just the same way we have to watch out for humans that are, exfiltrating data and things like that, we get those same concerns go now with the agents that are operating. So what type of access are we giving that agent? What type of data do they have access to? How are we monitoring for hallucinations? Making sure that that agent isn't exfiltrating data or accessing things they have no business doing. So that is a huge concern from an insider threat perspective, and of course from a data privacy perspective. So those are things that keep me up at night from a monitoring side. Then again, of course, I already mentioned like the third-party risk. So it's just staying up with the threats, the risk with the AI, but also of course, there's like Dr. Lee said, there's always good with AI too. I just live in a space where everything's bad, so I'm supposed to think everything's bad. But I think like the agentic AI, and then like the quantum risk, and then just like kind of like Laurie, I know you were going to touch on too, is just the retaining the talent. Trying to get the talent to. From whether it's the college students or whether it's people within the organization, just keeping them retained and making sure that we had the proper people in place to kind of identify these threats, not just identify it, but help defend against the emerging threats that we talked about throughout the conference today.
So if we're gonna say like what's keeping us up at night, what we're scared of. So I think, to touch on my last point, I think the bar to entry for threat actors is much lower now because of, these are all digital natives. It's very easy to go out on the dark web and construct something and very easily launch some kind of attack. And I think the second thing that worries me about that is the fact that we're not nailing down the basics. And I feel like everyone is going to want to throw tomatoes at me for saying that, because I feel like we come to conferences and we have, hundreds of thousands of dollars of tools on our network. But I've worked in incident response for the last 8 years, and I've just seen like over and over again, it's not just small businesses, it's literally everyone from like Fortune 500 to, the mom and pop shop. And I'm dealing with someone where their, IT admin password was scanner or password or admin, or they had just turned MFA off on that one account. We had one last week and it was like, well, we turned MFA off because a vendor needed it. So we turned, and then they forgot to turn it back on, and then in that time an actor got in and exfiltrated a terabyte of data. So I think, there's still a lot of work that needs to be done with nailing down the basics. And someone earlier had asked about that with like, we as IT, like I hate when we work a case and then it tracks back to the managed service provider, because a lot of times we're dealing with small businesses. They don't know IT. They trust that their MSP is taking care of that for them. And then a lot of times it was the MSP that ended up getting popped in the first place and led to the problem. So we as an industry need to fix that part of it, make sure we're not the problem.
Thanks. I would say that Chuck Norris used to keep me up at night, and now Luis keeps me up at night. So thank you, Luis, for giving us a shot in the arm. Crypto is coming, and it's something we've got to keep our eye on. So yeah, and in addition to the long-term threat, the short-term threat is I have 1,100 insider threats being trained on how to attack my network that have access to AI and are experimenting on that on a regular basis, along with the vault of viruses that are locked away. That keeps me plenty. Actually, I don't sleep at night sometimes. So, thanks, Luis.
Sure.
Only 2 words. Charo AI. Okay? We talk about Charo IT, Charo whatever, BYOD, Charo AI. Do you know what is happening in your phone? We all work in cyber. How many of you have a solution, a security solution in your phone? Don't raise your hand. How many? This is a dichotomic conversation. Charo AI. This is poison. But we have to be connected. Okay? How you regulate that somehow. How you bring some security to these type of things. Because you are expecting that when you call someone from your team, this someone respond to your phone, to your call, right? You are expecting that somebody is attentive to the email in the little piece of plastic. This is another misperception, academic responsibility. The phone, you can make a phone call from here to Canada. Who the crap told you that, man? This is a little piece of plastic, guys. This device doesn't have the power to communicate from Pittsburgh to Canada. It's a little piece of plastic. So when you try the call, everybody knows what happened. You go
Bring your
from
mic
here
up.
to the other place.
We can bring your microphone.
Satellite system. Are you securing this channel? I don't know. Charo AI. And we have Charo AI everywhere.
Yes. Are you not entertained here? Yeah, so, yes, sir. Do you want to say something? Did you ever?
I'm coming.
Microphone coming. Who are you?
So, my name's Sean. I'm a security analyst at a smaller company, but I am curious to hear more from you guys on like the skill gap that we have now, and like I know we've talked a lot about these AI tools being able to kind of do a lot of the tier 1 work. Like for example, me, like I started in a SOC and as a tier 1 analyst and learned those skills without a whole lot of AI. But like now it's like, well, if the AI is taking care of all of that, how are we gonna, prevent or, shorten that gap if we can't, learn those basic skills in the first place? You see what I'm saying?
So I'll comment here too. I mean, I know you guys think I'm a comedian, but I am actually a deputy CISO. So I do a lot of stuff. But yes. Besides the third-party risk management, shadow AI, shadow IT, I mean, I work for the 6th largest city in the country, 30,000+ employees, 1.6 million citizens, and a bunch of dumb people. So it's a lot. They're not dumb. It's just a learning curve, right? We have people be people and click and blah, blah, blah. But I'd say that, and also our external threat landscape, right? Websites, ports that are open that are externally available. Agentic AI, I believe Tiff or Laurie said that. Microsoft, turned on the agent. So everybody wants an agent. I'm like, what do you want an agent for? I don't know. Just want an agent. I don't know how many of you guys have to deal with that. So, reining that in, what does that look like? My background is in GRC also, so, I say I'm the good-looking auditor, but there's a reason we have compliance, sure. It's not just checklists, it's not just paperwork, but we have to also be cognizant of what the real threats are. And, policies or procedures are great, standards are great, right? But what exactly are vulnerabilities that can be exploited by external and insider threat? I've recently had some situations where insider threat, how do you even tell that? I mean, that's a hard thing to recognize, and then we're going to introduce agents in that thing. Oh, geez. So, I think that just kind of a little bit about the gentleman's question, and also what keeps me up at night, or what we're focusing on, and also vulnerability management with the drop of Mythos and finding vulnerabilities in code that's been around for 25 years, and now this magical AI bot has found this potential, crumble services down to the ground. We don't have that luxury at the city. No government does, right? We're providing essential, critical services. That's literally life or death. If anybody's in healthcare, you understand that. If anybody's in finance, you see all those people that committed suicide when the Wall Street fell, right? This serious stuff. So, it's not a luxury to say, we'll figure it out, right? This is critical services that impact everybody's day to day. Water, right? We all like water. So looking forward, quantum, yes. AI, yes. Your vulnerability management is incredibly important, because I feel like that is an area where we need to beef up too. Having the tools that the hackers, the adversaries are using, right? We need to have those tools. So if anybody else is in government, we move slow as paint. I can say, I need to get this tool, and they're like, well, put in a change request ticket. We'll get to it in 3 months. So there's a lot of battles from a public service perspective, but we need to be aware of who our enemy is, know thy enemy, the art of war, all that stuff, right? But I'd say agentic AI is at the forefront of where we're going to, and understanding we need to be fast acting on our vulnerabilities and have the tools our adversaries are using. Otherwise, we don't even have a chance. Does anybody else want to answer on the AI questions? What are you guys doing? What are you doing? Besides being cooked.
So AI is not all bad. I think if you harness it correctly, it can be a powerful tool. The new network that we installed has AI in it, and I will say it's a time saver for sure. Being able to reset and restart APs automatically, it finds dead cables, super helpful. I mean, and the analytics that you get from that are pretty powerful to help translate that to the business. It can tell, if we've got students that are loitering over in the library after hours, I can do a lot of telemetry and investigation with that AI. Also using AI for our email filtering, keeping the garbage out. I mean, ransomware and business email compromise still the top threat vectors. If you can keep the trash out of there, that does wonders for you. That's really where we focused a lot of our attention in doing that, and trying to stay kind of in law enforcement terms left of boom. You can invest that energy into prevention and get real returns and save yourself from fighting some fires. That's helpful. The tool that we used for web filtering, they also do, or not web filtering, email filtering. They also do phishing campaigns. And my CFO, God bless him, he's a Phillies fan. He said, "You'll never crack me. I am impervious to all phishing attacks." And lo and behold, the very first phishing attack from AI got him. So.
Did you promise birds tickets? I mean, anyway, that would happen.
I didn't hear all that.
Oh, did you promise birds tickets?
No,
Eagles
I did
tickets?
not.
That's why you clicked on it? Fan? Okay,
No,
all right.
I just
clear.
got him.
Oh, okay. Sorry, Chris. Did you want to? Yes, sir.
Hold on. Sorry.
Hold on. We got people who want to hear the lovely question. Lovely question.
This question is for Chris. For your university, which tool did you use for the AI, what you call it, the phishing campaigns? And is that the same tool you guys use for security awareness and training for the students or staff?
Yes, so we partnered with C&I to use Abnormal. That was a new offering for Abnormal, and we decided to partner with them. because I thought it made sense if you have a good understanding of what your attack vectors are. You can design your phishing campaign pretty easy based on that. And so rather than thinking about having to send a high, medium, or an easy phishing campaign, you just send, hey, this is what's in the wild. We'll send something that looks like what's out in the wild and send that in and see if anyone picks up on that. So I like their philosophy in that.
Cool. So we have like 7 minutes before you get another round at the happy hour. I don't want to stop you. So does anybody else have any questions? Again, you have like 50 million years up here. You want to talk about budget? No, you don't want to talk about budget. Pass. Yes, sir.
I was just curious if anyone was willing to share what their thoughts are on what happened to all of the entry-level cybersecurity positions. They seem to have evaporated from the job market. We saw in analytic today that there were 4.8 million vacancies, but the comment that was stated earlier, the job posting asked for 7 certifications, 3 to 5 years of experience. Why not knock it down a tier to 1 to 3 years of experience and maybe 1 certification that a student can get out of college?
I despise our current hiring processes. They are absolutely horrific, and I'll just say I don't do that. I am very proud of how we handle our hiring process. I got, shout out Augustine, that's my man right there at the city. Like, we hire people who have the talent, who are teachable. You may have a degree, you may not, but what Chris is doing at Geneva, there's a lot of colleges that are doing the same thing. The cyber majors, they're giving them positions to run a SOC, to work on the cyber team, to give them that experience at the academic level. There's job placement, there's all the things. So we need to do better as hiring managers. So if you're a hiring manager in here, you need to stop that shit and hire people that are gonna be there, they're gonna be loyal, right? They're going to be there for you. They're not going to quit after a few months because another opportunity is going to come along. They're going to stay. They're going to write it out with you, and that's who you need to hire, and that's only going to come from people that you take a chance on.
Let me add something to that, because this is a very dichotomical topic. Certifications, experience, or degree, or the combination of the 3. If you ask to any audience, 30% or 35% is not going to agree with certifications. Certifications are irrelevant. You need hands-on, right? The question is, how you can develop your hands-on if you don't have the theoretical foundation? IT is not a carpentry work. You need to have a very solid foundation. So if you ask me as a hiring manager, and I am one of those at the government, this is what I'm going to tell you. What I'm looking for on the new cybersecurity people is general skills, but basic. Some people are still having the courage to ask what port 3389 is for. I swear to God, people goes to interview and get this type of question. You know what, I have a question for you, Barry. What port 55,060 do? Tell me. Because 65,000 port, actually 535. So we have to be better as a hiring manager. 1 and 2, you cannot bring people to your operation to tell your people exactly what to do. Because if you are bringing someone to do what you are telling them to do, you are not bringing any talent to your organization. You are bringing repeaters, the yes guys. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. No, man. You need someone that say, you know what, I don't know anything about your environment. I'm new here, but we have a problem. We have to secure the Bluetooth connection. We have this, the WAF, whatever it is. And you need this type of challenge. So again, certification, academic credentials, and hands-on doesn't have to be divorced. It's a combination of 1 and 2, give the opportunity to young people and even to old people. I'm going to tell you something. I know that the time is over. About 4 years ago, I was in a meeting and somebody approached me. This guy was a veteran, retired from the Navy. He just passed away about less than a year ago, right? And he said, I am retired. I want to come back full-time working in cyber. So I asked him, his name is Greg, who was Greg. I say, okay, what do you know about cyber? He said, zero. Don't start asking me questions, I don't know anything, not even about computers. He went through an extraordinary personal effort. And he was one of my compliance guys, not so much technical, but he was doing awesome. And he died on his desk, 68 years old, never working computers. So people doesn't born savvy. Talent is developed by attitude, etc. So when you bring someone, give the opportunity to young people. Don't ask for 10 certification, but how many certifications you have? How you have the moral to say, you need to be A+ certified to work on my team. Are you A+ certified? No, and you are managing the team? Why are you pretending that someone from your team have the A+ if you don't? This is an ethical thing behind. Okay? Open the door to the people that are looking for opportunity. Motivation is a key, and persistence is everything. Okay? Let your people work. The young generations, we have to help each other. No mediocrity. Don't feel jealous if somebody knows more than you. Approach those people, ask questions. Don't question for you, because you know 2 + 2 = 4, right? I don't know this crap. I'm going to ask you openly, no problems. So hiring is a thing. Academia, again, I'm not against academia. I teach at the university, but academia is the other thing. And in the other part, politics, politicians in every single organization. You cannot say, don't say that in front of the CIO. Don't say that IT is more relevant than the chief financial officer. The chief financial officer is under my operation, buddy. If I turn the computer for him and lock his phone, I want to see if the CFO making $1.5 million can keep going. Okay? We are not support. We are the drivers of the operation. We, IT, cyber, telecommunications. I'm sorry, I expanded because this is a fascinating topic. And I usually hear the thing, oh, you have certifications? I don't like you. You need to have the hands-on experience. How the crap you are going to have hands-on experience if nobody gives you the opportunity? You know what I do? I'm going to tell you, because I have more than one student, especially from the military, okay? So I have multiple students with zero experience, and I have my own experience and my own company. I always tell them, I mean, if I like you, I have to like you first. From the technical standpoint, I always tell them, put that you work for my company for 2 or 3 years. They put it, they found a job. This is a fraud. But you are not giving the opportunity to my students. And my students for me are like my boys. Okay? So give the opportunity, man. 7 years experience. How the crap you are going to accumulate 7 years if you just walk out of the stage from your college? How? What do you have in your mind? So you don't give the opportunity to my student. Well, you work for my company for the last 3 years. They call me, I verify. Yes, he worked for my company, awesome guy.
I think, Laurie, did you want to close this out? Thank you. I see your frustration. Who asked that question? Come on now.
Yeah, I'll just say real
Laurie.
quick, I mean, on the question that you just asked, I think as someone who's been a hiring manager, some of it is like HR just runs with the posting, and I've definitely had that happen where I'm like, I need an analyst, and then they run and do their own thing, and then I see the posting, and it's like, I don't, what job are you advertising here for? So some of it's just like us being part of that process, but I also think, especially with like IT jobs, I think we should kind of treat it more like, you know, the trades jobs, so to speak, where maybe it doesn't have to be a 4-year college degree. Maybe it should be like, you know, like a vocational school during high school, and then an apprenticeship where you're like learning on the job before you actually get into it, because that would definitely like lower the bar to entry for people who are trying to do legitimate work, and it gives them, you know, the hands-on experience. I think that's one solution we should start thinking about.
Thank you, Laurie, and really appreciate y'all's participation here. You know, this has been a long day. You know, I'm sure your head is filled, but hopefully you got some good information from the speakers and also made some connections here, because that's what this is really about, relationships, all right? You want to get that next job, you want to move to that big city, you want to make that big raise, you want to know how to handle this one fix, you're going to call Laurie, right? So that's what this is all about, relationships. Quick shameless plug, B-Sides Harrisburg relationship. I'm the organizer, so is Silas. It is next Friday in Harrisburg. It's not that far from y'all. I know you probably don't leave the mountains over here. But come hang out with us, B-Sides Harrisburg next Friday, for the people, by the people, security professionals. And seriously, it's all about the community and the way that, big hand to please to Kim. Kim's daughter's here, she ain't here. Andrew, my girl, Mike, Lorenzo's not here, we got a new guy. But bringing us all together here has been super cool. Listen, we all here together. All right, hopefully you took some nuggets away. Give it up for our panel. And one more time, we are. Look at that energy. That's because you knew you were about to leave. All right. Thank you very much. Thanks, guys. You were great.
I'm sure you guys realize that this panel of people could be anywhere today, and they chose to be here with us. And so I want to thank you guys again. You were incredible. Please give them another round of applause. And guys, the bar is